When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
All right, welcome back. Hour number 2. It's a Memorial Day summer kickoff Friday edition of what we hope is your favorite sports talk radio program, Idaho Sports Talk. I got Bob Behler, Boise State play-by-play broadcaster, in for Prater today. We got our cameras on in the studio here, rowpaint.com style. BJ Rains, the Bronco Nation News Report, repping the St. Louis Blues, and I would say it's the biggest game the Blues have played in a long time, but that would be a farce, Bob, because they held up Lord Stanley just a couple years ago. But I'll tell you this might be good for BJ, but if I'm going to put money on this hockey game tonight, I'm going the Avs, and I'm taking them big.
So you got a winner there, BJ. If JP's going all over the Avs, what a win in Game 5 for you guys.
What's up, BJ?
Oh, yeah, love that. Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it. I'm repping the Winter Classic Vladimir Tarasenko jersey for this segment. But, yeah, nothing like playoff hockey, so hoping at least it's a good game tonight. And for all of us sports fans out there, I'm just trying to get us a Game 7 on Sunday night. That's all I ask for.
That'd be huge. Yep. No, anything can happen in a Game 7 in the NHL. In that game last night, I think 4 more goals had just been scored in our last commercial break. That was like a basketball shootout last night. NHL playoffs certainly delivering. BJ, Jeremy McNichols, new Atlanta Falcon. Avery Williams, he's going into his second year with the Atlanta Falcons. Couple of ex-Boise State ballers, now they're teammates there. I want to start you off on Avery Williams because I remember when we were talking about this, when Brian Harsin said, we had an offensive package in for Avery. We just never felt comfortable, or for whatever reason, throwing it in and using it. And I remember just shooting the breeze with you thinking like, God, why don't they do this with Avery Williams? He might be the best ball carrier on this team right now. But it looks like Arthur Smith and the Atlanta Falcons are going to go in that direction. They're going to give Avery Williams a shot to play running back in the NFL. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. And yeah, that package they had, the Mountain West Championship game when it was in Vegas against San Jose State, his senior year, they had it in that package and didn't quite get to it. And then they were going to run it in the bowl game. And then all the players opted out of the bowl game and they didn't have a bowl game that year. So yeah, they had that package the last couple of games of the season. And if you remember, the offense running the football was not very good that year. They had some injuries, some things were not working. So it would have been perfect. The time was right. You want to get the ball in your best player's hands. And certainly Avery Williams, had some running back experience from high school, put up some numbers as a high school running back. So I think anybody that watches the film and saw what he did in the return game, even last year with the Falcons, said, hey, that's a position we need some depth at. We all know that Avery Williams is not the biggest corner. He wasn't the biggest guy out there. We thought he might struggle a little bit to get on the field as a defensive back. You can be a smaller running back and have some success in the NFL. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see it. And anytime the ball is in Avery Williams' hands, it was can't miss TV or can't miss, in person. And so I'm excited to see him get a chance. I just wish he wasn't fighting with another Boise State guy for a roster spot or some carries.
Well, one of the things he might not be fighting for that gives Avery a leg up is the fact that I think they're going to still use him on return.
No doubt. That's a huge benefit that he has, and he showed last year again in a very short amount of time that he could, do some things there, and to average 7.7 yards per return doesn't sound crazy, but that's not terrible in the NFL. And you got 20 chances last year. The kick return game averaged over 21 yards a kick return as well. And I was, searching his name on social media, and I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, he was one of the bright spots last year." So the fans were intrigued by this switch, and so the Falcons fans, obviously, who know that team better than us, liked what they saw from Avery Williams last year. And so it's an intriguing move. You don't see this a ton in the NFL, where not only do you switch positions, you switch sides of the football. Those guys usually draft you where they think they're going to want you. So I'm excited to see how it works out for him. I'm excited for him. I think he might have a better chance than defensive back at his size to get out there. But as I said, the excitement of that was tempered a little bit an hour later when we found out that, now he's competing in the same running back room with another Boise State player, Jeremy McNichols.
Yeah, in the Falcon running back room, we're going to dive a little deeper into this in about an hour. We're bringing on the Atlanta Falcon play-by-play broadcaster. He's a good old buddy of Bob Behler, BJ. But just your thoughts, Jeremy McNichols, This is great. Like, it would have been unfair, in my opinion. And that's the NFL, right? It's all about being fair. It's not, but it would have been unfair if Jeremy McNichols wouldn't have been at least in a camp this year to try to stay in this league. He knows Arthur Smith, obviously, from the Tennessee days. He was the former OC there. But what do you think, Jeremy McNichols? You must be interested to see if he's going to have a shot. Preseason games should be pretty big for him, huh?
Yeah, I mean, props to you guys. You must have known this was coming when you guys talked about this on your show the day before. I was driving home and heard you and Prater's whole conversation about why is Jeremy McNichols not in a camp, and then the very next day he gets signed. So whoever had the idea for that segment, I give you guys props. But yeah, I mean,
it was JP.
It's hard to, well, of course it was. Going into year 6 in the league already, it's hard to believe Jeremy McNichols, 5 years in the NFL, 34 career games. But and it seems like he's been out there and done some things, guys. But I looked up, 2 career touchdowns, 1 career rushing touchdown, 1 career receiving touchdown. He's done some things as a third down back, a backup running back, but he just has, yet to prove that he can be a, guy that can put up major production. He's not a number 1 running back, obviously. So, good for him to get into a camp and have a chance here. But, when you're looking at already being on your 5th team in 6 years now, and that doesn't even count, the team that drafted him and then cut him before camp started. So now 6 teams, I guess, in 6 years here, if you want to look at it that way. So we'll see. I hope he can catch on. Obviously rooting for him as a former Boise State guy. But again, maybe some people like it. I think it kind of stinks that both these guys, are both on the same team.
But at least they're on a team right now that I think is searching for running backs, BJ. I think that the Falcons, if you're saying who has some of the better running backs in the league, I don't think Atlanta's getting in that line.
No doubt about it. And on, Bronco Nation News Live this morning with Jay Tusk, we were talking about this, and he was going through their depth chart at running back. And obviously Patterson is kind of who they've given the number 1 spot to, but they don't have a lot of proven depth behind him at all. I mean, they got the BYU running back in there, Algier, that's fighting for action. So it's certainly an opportunity. And I don't think the Falcons would make the move unless they thought Avery Williams had a chance to contribute there, because you're not just wasting a spot or using a roster spot for special teams. You keep guys that you think can contribute in other ways as well. So, yeah, good for Jeremy McNichols. But as you guys know, too, I mean, you could be cut, signed one day and cut the next and end up on another team 2 days later. So who knows, a week from now, a month from now, first preseason game from now, what this is going to look like in terms of where Jeremy McNichols is. But yeah, it does look like a good situation for both those guys, given the fact there's not a ton of proven running back depth on the roster.
BJ, earlier in the show today, we went down some of the single game Boise State records, picking the all-time passing record, running record, receiving record, and touchdowns scored record. And we wanted to ask you, BJ, where you thought if one of those records was going to go this year, which one do you think would have the best chance to fall?
Well, I was looking at the list here, and there's so many. Johnny said you were going to prep me with the finalists here.
Okay. The passing record is 532 for Ryan Didwitty. The rushing record is 261 for Cedric Minner. The receiving record is 281 for Thomas Spurbeck, and 3 guys have 5 touchdowns in a game.
See, Spurbeck, for me, that game that he had 281, he also had 20 catches. I mean, that is just insane. And, it was kind of like last year where, Khalil Shakir obviously got the heavy dose of the workload. But think about that. I mean, Khalil Shakir never came close to 20 catches in a game. I'm not even sure if Khalil Shakir ever had a 200-yard receiving game in his career at Boise State. I don't think he did. So to think about 20 catches in a game, I mean, there's some games where quarterbacks don't complete 20 passes. I mean, to have 20 catches in one game is just insane to me. And I know it was a crazy circumstance because that was actually the game Boise State lost, right, against New Mexico, where they were trying to come back at the end. And we all remember Austin Cottrell almost scored on the final play of the game on the crazy lateral. But I mean, if you're talking individual records, I mean, I think the rushing record's doable. I mean, 261, is that what you said? Or it's
that's the one I thought that had the greatest chance.
It's especially against a UT Martin at home or somebody where Helani breaks off 2 or 3 60, 70 yarders. I mean, that doesn't seem like honestly, I'm surprised it's not higher, to be honest with you. The passing yards, I mean, that's a lot of passing yards when you think about that, and so I would probably say the rushing record. Again, I don't think 20 catches is going to be broken for a long time. I don't think the receiving yards is going to be broken for a long time. But if you want to go, man, I know it's probably a different discussion, but just single game performances, 20 catches for 281 yards looking back is just insane for me.
BJ, I think the 5 touchdowns, Hellman Dollar, Ian Johnson, and Jay Ajayi, are all a member of the 5 teeter in one game club.
I mean, that doesn't seem that hard to do. I mean, it's easy for us to say, but I mean, I mean, how many times do we see? I mean, you see Boise State score 50+ points, and they haven't done that a lot lately. But I mean, especially for a running back, I mean, you get the ball down by the goal line and you give it to the same. I mean, part of that's skill, part of that's luck, because it's play calling, it's situation, it's part of the game. Where are you at? I mean, maybe on a first down play, the guy drops the pass, so then you run it in on second down. I mean, so much of that can change. But I just feel like, if it were 8 or 9 touchdowns, I'd say no chance. But to me, I'm not saying George Jelani is going to get 6 touchdowns in a game this year, but it wouldn't shock me. That's nothing crazy to if you're going to score 6 touchdowns in a game, there could be a game where they're all passing, or it could be a game where they're all rushing. So I don't think I don't think that one's unbreakable for me.
John Helmendaller, you want to know a player who's appreciative of something? John Helmendaller is appreciative of being in the 5 teeter club with the Jai and Ian Johnson, right? I mean,
he had 10 carries in the game.
That. He had 10 carries, BJ, and 5 touchdowns.
That's insane. That's almost as crazy as when Skip Hall was telling us about Brett Hall's brother. Had 3 touchdowns against Nevada. Or I guess it was Tom Scott was helping us out with that too. 3 carries, 3 touchdowns against Nevada. And I think he had the same thing, like 10 rushing yards or something crazy like that. That's fine. I'll go with that. But I think what is it? The passing yards. I mean, again, that seems crazy. That's probably not going to happen. But if you play just when you're playing these FCS teams and maybe you get a New Mexico type team in here that's not very good, and you just, have a quarterback that goes crazy in a pass offense, I don't think that one's unbreakable either. But I wouldn't put money on it happening anytime
in
soon.
a lot of cases, me and Bob were talking about this, BJ. Like, for example, Kellen Moore had 1 500-yard passing game, and he didn't throw the ball in the fourth quarter.
Yep. And that's part of it too.
Yards in three quarters. Ryan Dinwiddie, that La Tech game where he set the record, 532 yards in Ruston. That was a back and forth game, Bob. They needed to keep pushing, and that's a big factor too. You can't necessarily, BJ, just be blowing somebody out. It has to be close, so you need the touchdowns. So.
That's in that game where New Mexico upset them on the blue as 30-point underdogs. That's Brett Rippon set the record, I think, for passing attempts because he just kept slinging it that game. And it makes sense. It's situational. It's all that stuff comes together. But no, it's a good exercise, and I think I guess the whole point is, hey, is the offense going to be better than it was last year? Do any of these records actually have a chance of being broken? And I think the answer is yes.
Got anything for him, Bob?
Got your golf game ready to go?
Let's go. I'm excited. I'm excited for next Friday. And we mentioned Thomas Spurbeck. He's got to force him in the tournament. So Thomas Spurbeck will be out there.
He will be there.
Thomas Spurbeck and Alec Danins, a former tight end. They've got a team out there. So we got some former football players. You got Nick Duncan, Brian King, Matt Bauscher, former basketball players, and then a lot of current coaches. And but earlier today, I'll have to play it back for you, Johnny. Jay was talking a little trash about his foursome against yours. So we'll have to see if we can get some sort of, and maybe it's better for you. Because if it was just you.
Wait. Jay Tust?
Yeah. I mean, if it was you against Jay, I don't know if you have much of a chance, Johnny, but since you have a foursome with you, maybe you get lucky and your foursome's better than Jay's. And maybe we need to get something on the line here for JP's foursome, Prater's foursome, yours, Tust. Maybe we get some sort of little small media wager going here.
Are you talking about Tust the bust? One of the biggest busts in Cincinnati Reds draft history, 2001, whatever round they took him in. Like, is that Jay Tust? That the Tust the bust?
There was actually a discussion on the show today, Johnny, whether or not you would completely whiff on a shot next week. What are the chances of that? What are the chances?
100%.
No way. I don't think I'm going to completely whiff on a shot, but.
We had the air ball, comments coming back from the free throw, and then I asked Jay, is there a chance he actually completely misses on a shot? And he said
he took that bet.
He said he thinks it. He said there's definitely an opportunity that could happen. So
it's going to be fun, man.
Looking forward to it. Appreciate KTIK for being involved and you guys doing your show out there. And it's going to be a fun day and a lot of great people, a lot of great food and drink, and looking forward to it. So appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate you. That's BJ Rains, the Bronco Nation News Report, Fridays on Idaho Sports Talk. Great stuff there. And we're going to keep the video on, JP, more or less. Thank you, BJ. Get BJ off my damn screen.
Let's go Blues.
BJ's in control of this particular job.
No commercial breaks. Let's keep this baby going. Come on.
The Blues, Bobby. We're going to do a high school commencement speech delivered by myself. This is a This is going to be an interesting segment. I'm just going to leave it there, Bob. Are you excited for this at all?
I am excited. I want to know what life tips you're going to give.
Yeah, I have a few. Yeah. If you ever want to know how to get off of work and make it believable, that's going to be included in my speech, and it's next on Idaho Sports